of a teacher created resource rather than getting students to create their own content. However, it's very interactive and it gets them to record their voice, use their Apple Pencils, create drawings and diagrams and things like that. It's a really good way to get students used to using the interactive features before you start asking them to build resources on their own without your help. So this one is on whales, and we use one of the ABC podcasts from Little Yarns and get the students to listen to this podcast first.
Teach you today. Mamang is whale in Wirralurrung Noongar language. Can you say mamang?
Mamang, mamang, mamang.
Once the students have listened to this, then you can distribute the Pages document to them. You could airdrop it to them. Now, I've written on here with my Apple Pencil whales already, but you can delete this and get students to write in the word whales or my project on whales. And then I have a placeholder that they can use here, and when they click on it, they can either access their camera roll, or if they were on an iPad, they can take a photo of themselves and put it in there. Rather than writing their name, we can actually see easily whose work is whose. Now, all of the work in here has been created using the shapes in Pages or creating work in Sketches School. So the whales that I've put onto the front cover are just from the shapes menu and going into animals and then finding the whale and adding it in there. And then I added an eye and made it different colors and different sizes. The water background I've created with some brushes in Sketches School, saved the picture and then imported it into the background. The first page of questions is trying to get students to actually write and then to verbalize as well, which are skills we often think that students are lacking. So using their Apple Pencil, they can write in here things that they remember from the podcast, and then they can use the media and record audio to explain different things or the questions. If you don't have an Apple Pencil, you can always add in a text box and the students can answer that way. The next one down is directly from the podcast. So seeing if students can remember the different words they heard in Noongar language and then being able to record these and then drop their recordings on top of these placeholders. Now, a good thing to remember is the placeholders that I've used on this page are microphones, and the placeholders I used on these ones are speakers. So you might want to think about making sure that all of your placeholders are the same so students know when to record or what to put where. Then I've put in here a little picture that students can use or draw a whale family, so they can draw directly on here with their Apple Pencil, or perhaps they could go out into Sketches School and then draw using Sketches and bring that back in here. I've already started to set this up for the students, so I've put in the picture of the whale from the cover page, and I've put in some text boxes with some arrows, and I'm wanting the students to label this whale. And I've also put a microphone icon up here so that if you have students who can take it a bit further, they can start to actually explain what is happening in this picture. The next one I also want students to label, but I've just put in a picture of a whale. So I'm starting to pull back on what I've actually added in there. So the students can, if they want to, copy and paste the arrows from this one and then type in text, or they can always go to their shapes and then find an arrow that they like to use and add it in there. For this page, we want students to move out of Pages for a bit and go into Clips and record a little video about the different foods that these two whales eat. Now they can record a video of themselves talking, or they might want to include images of the whales or images of the different foods. Save and export that Clips video, and then using the placeholder be able to import their clip into their Pages document, just to make it more media rich. The next page down is looking at a map of Australia, or more WA. and trying to show the route that whales migrate from WA to Antarctica. Now this is a good one for students to use their Apple Pencil again to actually draw in, or if they don't have an Apple Pencil, they can go to their shapes and they can actually draw in the line. And again, I've put the microphone at the top if they want to explain what is actually happening in their diagram. The next one is a little bit of fun, and it's just putting shapes into a scene that they can colour in. At the moment, all of these shapes are blue, and you can have a discussion with the students about what colours are all the different creatures. So the whale and the penguin and the seals, what colour the ice would be, what colour the water would be, and they can have a bit of fun colouring this in. The last one is a crossword puzzle, and again, keeping the same shapes that we've been using throughout. The students again can use their Apple Pencil to find all the words and cross them off. If they don't have an Apple Pencil, just use your shapes again, and they can either use a line or a circle or a square. So if you don't have an Apple Pencil, you can use the shape menu. So you could use a line, or you could use a square or a circle. So if I use a circle, I can just format it in my style, and I'll choose no fill, and then I'll give it a line border, and I might want to make it a bit thicker, and then I can move my circle around a word that I find. The students can then save their work and airdrop it back to you. If you would like students to write on the cover page themselves, you can get them to grab their Apple Pencil and double tap on the screen to access the drawing function. If your writing is still there, they can tap on the eraser and then erase the word whales. Otherwise, I get students to either use the pencil or the crayon to write their name. Don't forget to tell them to tap and hold to choose the thickness of their pencil or crayon, and make sure the colour that they want is sitting on top of the nib. So if they choose the crayon and they choose purple and then accidentally choose the pencil, which is black, thinking they're going to write in purple pencil, you need to remind them just to check that the colour sits on the top, and then they can write in whatever they want. For example, my whale project. You can also get them to undo in the bottom left hand corner if their writing is looking a little bit messy, and it's a really good way for them to actually practice writing. They can resize and then move the text around as well. If the whales are moving around too much, get students to tap on the words that they have written, tap on the paintbrush, tap arrange, and choose none. This way it won't interfere with what else is on the page, and they can resize it back to a readable size. Tap on the plus on the placeholder to access the camera roll, and then they can add a picture of themselves in there. If you would like students to use their Apple Pencil to write on this page, just get them to double tap the screen again with their Apple Pencil, and then they can write in the different things that they remember about whales. Don't forget to tell them to choose a colour that will be appropriate for handwriting, so maybe a blue or a black. Nothing too bright like yellow, because that is going to be very hard to read. Then they can tap done in the top right hand corner when they are finished. For this page, you might also want to get students to use their Apple Pencil to draw in the arrows and write in the labels. So again, they can double tap the screen to access the drawing tools. And then they'll be able to label the different parts and use arrows. Can be a little bit more interactive, and students really love being able to write and use their Apple Pencil. Using their Apple Pencil on this page can be super fun and interactive for kids as well. In Pages, you can also animate any of the drawings that you have created. Tap on your drawing and tap on the paintbrush in the top right hand corner. Toggle the Animate Drawing button on, and then you can decide how long you would like your animation to play for, or if you would like to loop it. Using the Apple Pencil to complete your crossword puzzle is actually really fun and interactive for students as well. Again, get them to double tap the screen with their Apple Pencil to access the drawing function. It's a good idea to remind them to change the colour of their Apple Pencil from black to a brighter colour for this one, so they can see where they're actually drawing over the words.